At a blind date meeting, there were more boys than girls. The boys sat down while the girls lined up and turned around. At the matchmaking event in Hangzhou in April, there were also more women than men. In China, there is a term called leftover women, which refers to women who are highly educated, have high incomes, and are over the age of 27 but still unmarried. In other words, it refers to women who are left behind in the marriage market. Typically, if a woman completes her undergraduate studies, she graduates at 22. If she finishes her master's degree, she graduates at 25. By the time she completes her PhD at 28, she becomes a leftover woman. If a woman with a master's degree does not marry within 3 years after graduation, she will also reach the age of 28 and become a leftover woman. Older women do not have an advantage in the matchmaking market because men in their 30s also want to find women in their 20s. Older women have fewer options when it comes to choosing a partner. According to statistics, the number of older single women in Beijing has exceeded 800,000, and the trend is still rising. Following closely are first-tier cities like Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou, where the number of older single women is also approaching 800,000. At the matchmaking corner in Shanghai's People's Park, parents who gather to find partners for their children usually see more women than men. Why does this situation occur? Because in economically developed big cities, housing prices are relatively high. Men who have spent some time struggling in these cities without success, due to the pressure of housing prices and living costs, often choose to return to their hometowns at a marriageable age, find a stable job, buy a cheaper house, and get married and have children. On the other hand, women tend to prefer staying in big cities. For men, those who can establish themselves in big cities, earning a monthly salary of 40 to 50,000, successful in their careers, and owning a house and car, usually achieve this after the age of 35. These elite men tend to prefer young and attractive women. High-quality older women have almost no advantage in terms of age and appearance. Many older women believe they are very outstanding and can meet excellent men. They do not correctly recognize their own strengths and weaknesses, and they choose partners solely based on their own criteria, rigidly setting conditions for potential partners. If they are even slightly dissatisfied, they give up, unwilling to make appropriate compromises or concessions, ultimately turning themselves into leftover women. Ms. Lin from Nanning, Guangxi, is nearly 40, has a good appearance, is an only child, and comes from a well-off family. She graduated from university and with the support of her parents, started her own business, running a medium-sized enterprise with an annual income of several 100,000 yuan. Ms. Lin said that in her 20s and 30s, she dated several boyfriends who were all very good-looking, but at that time she wasn't ready to get married. So they all went their separate ways. Even though her looks have somewhat declined now, she still has the mindset of only choosing handsome men when it comes to selecting a partner. Many friends have introduced her to potential partners, and she has gone on more than 10 blind dates in half a year, but she still hasn't found the handsome man she desires. On August 9th, an account named Baike posted a video on the X platform. An older woman complained that she absolutely wouldn't date men in their 30s or 40s, only those in their 20s or 50s.
Hello everyone, I am what you would call a high-quality older single woman. I currently have 3 million in savings, own 3 houses, and 2 cars. Even if I end up unhappy in the future or whatever, I'll either find someone who's 24 or 25, or I'll go straight for someone in their 50s. Really, either option works for me. Actually, with these choices, I'm very satisfied with both. One allows me to enjoy my youthful years, right? The other can provide me with material comfort. I would choose either of these 2 options. I wouldn't go for a man in his 30s or 40s. So why wouldn't I choose someone like that? Well, because the competition is greater, right? At the same time, I feel these people are particularly pretentious because they have options to choose from, and they insist on being strong, trying to be equal with you in every aspect. Those in their 20s mainly offer emotional value, while those in their 50s focus on material stability, so I would simply avoid the path of those in their 30s and 40s.
With the current economic downturn in China, many single individuals are also reluctant to get married. According to data released by the National Bureau of Statistics, The current single population in China is nearly 240 million, with the number of single women exceeding 100 million. Xiao Zhang, a 30-year-old fisherman, expressed in a Douyin video that he still doesn't have a marriage partner and feels somewhat anxious.
I was born in 1995, and I'm already 30 years old this year. All of my close friends around me are already discussing marriage, and now I'm the only one left who isn't married. Many of my relatives say that I'm too picky and not proactive enough during blind dates, which is why I've become an older single woman. Actually, that's really not the case. I know my own worth. I have an average appearance, an ordinary education, and a typical family background, so I don't have any demands regarding houses, cars, or even dowries. I just want to find someone I can have a good conversation with, someone we both like each other, and I don't have any requirements for other external conditions. But I still can't find anyone, and I don't know what the problem is. Every time I go on a blind date, I'm very proactive, but after they go home, they just ignore me. Thinking about it now makes me very anxious.
Many people in society sympathize with older women, as if these women who can't get married will face a miserable life in the future. Netizen Xia is already 41 years old and is still unmarried and childless. But she is not worried about having a miserable old age. She believes that life can have various lifestyles as long as she doesn't feel regret.
Even if I can't get married in this lifetime, so what? Living alone can also be fulfilling and happy. Someone commented that the more enjoyable single life is when you're young, the more miserable it will be when you're old. I've already enjoyed several years when I was young, so if I have a few miserable years when I'm old, it's deserved, and I can accept that. I don't think that marrying someone just because I'm afraid of being miserable when I'm old and spending a lifetime with someone I don't love would be less miserable. I think that would be even more miserable. Would it really be more miserable? No. Although I'm still single now, I'm not an anti-marriage person. I'm also slowly adapting, although I'm not an anti-marriage person. If there's someone suitable, I would also choose to settle down. Some people say that at your age, if you wait another 2 years, you really won't be able to have children. If I can't have children, then so be it. After all, children aren't a necessity in life. There are many different lifestyles to choose from in life. As long as you don't feel any regrets, that's all that matters.
Shinya has a relatively calm mindset, and another netizen, Jingyan, also has a very good attitude. Jingyan is from Suzhou, a 47-year-old woman from Dali. She says she has been a shengnu for nearly 20 years, and the bittersweet stories and hardships she has experienced are hard to describe in a few words. In her Douyin videos, she advises other women from Dali to adjust their criteria for choosing a partner in a timely manner and not to feel sorry for themselves.
Now I can calmly accept everything life gives me, whether good or bad. Whether I walk the broad road or the single plank bridge, it's my own choice. Now I must have the courage to bear the consequences, rather than blaming heaven or others. Not blaming heaven or others also means correctly facing being abandoned. I am still single not because I don't understand how to empathize with men, or am unwilling to make sacrifices for others, nor because I only know how to work, and can't add 5, can't add 5, can't add 5, can't add 5. I can do everything, and am willing to do anything, provided I meet someone I mutually like, and can communicate well with. Everyone has their own reasons for remaining single, and they are certainly different. But there are definitely reasons. Having a good mindset is the most important thing. For example, I can't possibly find someone who has never been married now. If a man is okay in all aspects, then I have to accept that he has children. I have to accept that he has children.
Last April, a matchmaking event for 1,000 people was held in Hangzhou. As a result, several hundred women attended, but only a few men participated. Some men found too few compatriots, discouraging them repeatedly. However, the ladies dressed up meticulously, but there were only a few occasions. Years Older deserves. The event organizers required women to register without any fee. Men have to pay. It's said online. Moreover, I don't know what the organizers are thinking. Actually, in many matchmaking events now, men are free and you have to pay. In other words, the men are free and you pay. Because in many big cities now, there are more single women than men, more single women than men, more single women than men. Even if matchmaking events are free for men, there are still relatively few men at the beginning, not to mention that this time men have to pay. Currently, to become an online regular member of matchmaking agencies on the internet, you usually have to pay a few hundred yuan, and there are some services that charge based on the number of meetings. Wen Jing, a woman working at a major internet company, followed a matchmaking platform's public account and noticed that the platform rarely promoted male candidates. Later, a male doctor candidate caught her attention, and she eagerly paid 50 yuan on the platform just to submit her resume online to this male doctor. However, to her disappointment, possibly due to the large number of resumes received, the male doctor never even opened hers. According to the platform's rules, the 50 yuan was refunded to her. But this experience made her lose faith in this type of matchmaking. Compared to the tens or hundreds of yuan spent online, the high-end one-on-one offline membership is the real money-burning model. By the age of 27, Li Yi felt an even more urgent desire to find a partner. She surveyed various online matchmaking agencies, and based on her set criteria, the quotes all started at 20,000 yuan. After 3 years of research, she was already 30 years old. She registered as a paying member on a new matchmaking platform, paying a membership fee of 14,000 yuan at once. The service guaranteed meetings with 4 people, averaging a cost of 3,500 yuan per person, which is considered relatively low in the industry. Fortunately, when she met the second male participant, she successfully found a partner. Excited, she shared her and several of her older female friends' experiences of finding partners on Xiaohongshu, receiving hundreds of comments and likes.